So the World Cup ended. I know it ended yesterday, but since we had two games yesterday, I wanted to save the most important game for last, and that was the Germany versus Serbia game. I know that a lot of people were focused more on the Canada versus United States because it was the big game that everyone wanted to see, and it was like the showing. But now that we finally get to see the end of it, right? We get to see that this was a tough game, and it was really good. I wanted to say that shout out to Germany because if you guys didn't know, Germany won the World Cup, right? They won in spectacular fashion. Of course, it was a tough game. No one promised that it was going to be easy, but the way that Germany won really made them look like the team that deserved to win. They were a team which was consistently, set on winning, and you saw it with the way that they attacked and the way that they played the game. And really, for me, the thing with Germany was the fact that they were just consistent, right? Germany is a team which has been consistently winning and being tough out there, right? And then finally, right, when they get the chance to win, they do in what I would say is spectacular fashion, right? So Germany won. Dennis Schröder was the star of the game, and he won the basically the man of the tournament. The Finals MVP, and they had a great game. Schröder had a lot to prove this game because he's been put as the superstar. He's the one who brings the ball up the floor, normally takes the most shots. And with Germany, it was a thing where it's like Schröder's always kind of really good for Germany, but this game it was just more about how are we going to piece it together to win? Serbia, their biggest thing is defense, and they're very tough defensively. And in my opinion, this series or this game proved it, right? They're a team which has consistently been great. Like I'm talking about Germany now. The things with Germany is that they're just one of these teams which finds always a way to piece it together. They're not one of the teams which is always going to be at the top when it comes to like power rankings, and they're not a team which maybe is understood by a lot of players. And really what I wanted to talk about in this tournament was not anything else, because I don't want to really get away from the topic too much. It's just I want to say that shout out to Germany. They're a team which was doubted, and they didn't lose a game, right? They could have made it to the finals losing a game. USA lost one, and they were still on trajectory to make it to the finals. But in my opinion, what really Germany did well, it was prioritizing their guys over anyone else, right? They basically said, look, these are our guys, and we're going to roll with them. We're not going to have any of these fluky, oh, he's an NBA player, so we're going to start him. No, they ran with their guys, right? A guy who I don't think should have started for Serbia was Jovic. As much as I like Jovic and I think he's a great player, he got the second most minutes in the entire team. He dropped 9 points, 8 rebounds, right, and 1 assist, 1 and a steal. Now that's great, and he started off the game playing phenomenally. But when you really look at him, he's young. He's a rookie almost. Like, he was a rookie last season. And there was guys off the bench which were also power forwards, like the center Petrusev, right? He off the bench, he's a center. He got 20 minutes of play, and he dropped 10 points, right? 4 rebounds with 2 offensive rebounds. And Jovic also had 2 offensive rebounds. So, like, imagine what he would have done if he had more minutes than Jovic. And that, in my opinion, is the problem for Serbia. The Serbian problem was that the guys who they were running, yes, the NBA guys are the best, and that's true, right? But your 2 top scorers, only one of them was an NBA guy. The other guy was a point guard off the bench who did get 25 minutes, right? But he's not an NBA player. And that, I think, was what Germany had the best. They had Mo Wagner off the bench, Isaac Bonga, which are guys who are in the NBA or were in the NBA in close proximity. And for Serbia, this was the biggest thing for them. It was really that as much as Germany liked, Germany as a team, they play a lot of guys, and they have a lot of the same guys year round. And people know their positions, what they play, what they run, and it's really a thing of culture, in my opinion, for Germany, right? Like Germany has been bred into this culture, into working really hard, into making themselves a team which they have cohesiveness and consistency, right? They're one of the teams which, even though, yes, they're not expected to win, they don't have a clear superstar. And what I mean by clear superstar, of course, I mean that is a guy who can consistently deliver for them. And in my opinion, that always causes them to be one of the teams which is doubted, right? But really, I do believe that Germany has gone far because of the way that they handle themselves. They're a team which has consistently been great, especially in the big moments, right? And and that shows, right? That shows a lot in the way that they handle themselves, right? Because in my opinion, when you take a team like Germany, right, who's been in that position so many times and who has consistently delivered, right, where they play hard, they go crazy every time, it causes them to have a confidence which a lot of people don't have and a lot of teams don't have, right? And in my opinion, that causes Germany to be a better team, right? Germany doesn't win pretty, I'm sorry, but Germany has very narrowly blown out teams in this World Cup. But what they do great is they find a way to win, right? Like last game, I don't know if you saw it, Germany, the last position of the game was like Dennis Schroeder, right? The last two were Dennis Schroeder, for Germany, I mean, was Dennis Schroeder goes, he gets the ball, and then he goes and make a really tough layup, right? And it causes them to go up a significant amount of points, right? They were 81-76, if I'm not mistaken, or 81-78. 76, if I'm not mistaken. But then they go, and what they do is that they have that lead, right? And it causes them to then, Schroeder gets fouled, he hits both free throws. And that shows really what Germany is. Germany is not a team which is going to win you pretty. They're going to win ugly, but they're going to win, right? They're going to make a tough shot. And it's not like they're going to win in the NBA style where, oh, I make a really contested three, splash, then I'm going to go celebrate, and then I'm going to lock up the other team, get a steal, and get a dunk. No, they're going to win by their shot, they missed, then I'm going to go ran down the clock, get a fundamental, contested layup, and then I'm just going to play the best defense that I can. And that's what's made Germany so tough to beat. The fact that it doesn't matter who they switch to, because if you notice the game, Dennis Schroeder was switching on to centers, but you know what he was doing? He was trying. And he was actually going and defending those centers. The problem is with the NBA guys in the USA team especially, is that they have this notion that because in the NBA, the game is made easier for the superstar on defense. It's made so that you have to cover your man. And in FIBA, they love to switch. They love to change the rotations, and because that's a way to expose the other team's offense and another team's defense by doing that. And that has caused Germany to win so many games because they just get to abuse people, especially NBA players, who think, oh yeah, when I get this switch, I'm gonna cook, and then when they switch it on defense, we're gonna be able to switch it again. But it's like, no, in FIBA it doesn't work like that. Like as soon as there's a switch, the game plays so slowly that just like undoing a switch is so complex because the game moves slower than the NBA. In the NBA, undoing a switch is just run around. Both guys run around until they find their man. But in FIBA, when you do that, it normally creates an open shot, or it confuses defense way too much because you're playing for stakes and you're playing for a lot. This is how the Denver Nuggets won last year. It was a very European system. They played at their own pace. If they needed to speed it up, they could. Slow it down, they could. And on defense, anyone could guard anyone as long as, it wasn't a problem, because with Europeans, what they do is that they don't try to hide their guys on defense. They will, you put them out there and they have to play defense. And that's what's caused FIBA to be so tough for the American guys, because they come around, right, thinking that they're Kobe and LeBron and KD, which have done hours of film sessions and research on how other teams play the game, and they think they're going to win. But I'll stop that for today. That's a topic for when the Olympics come around. And yeah, let me know what you think about Germany winning. And shout out to Germany for winning this. I imagine it means a lot for them, especially shout out to Dennis Schröder for being, the MVP. And yeah, tell me what you think about this.